people out there who struggle with knowing the difference between nice and good are the same people who suck at learning boundaries and handling the temptations of people-pleasing. And from that alone, you know we're talking about Charlie.
It'll be a happy day.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
Charlie is one of the most interesting characters as she embodies a lesson everyone who's a people-pleaser needs to learn. The difference between goodness and niceness. One can be productive with empathy, while the other one leaves people exhausted and in social limbo, with no benefit whatsoever. So in this video, we're going to see how Charlie needs to understand these differences and how productive empathy can be so much better than placating pimps and genocidal freaks, through understanding hell and its needs. And no, not those kinds of needs.
This call is officially a final notice from IRS, Internal Revenue Services.
So, as a rule of thumb, niceness isn't bad, but there's a reason it's been vilified recently. Besides jerks using nice to guilt girls into doing what they want, niceness is about social pleasantries, where good is less about social interactions and more on moral action and responsibilities. Someone offering you tea and polite chat is being nice, but being nice is just a way to interact. It doesn't create permanent change. Years of customer service will teach you this, but being nice for long periods of time can be exhausting.
I like being a familiar. It's a very satisfying job. Well, actually, calling it a job would imply that it pays.
Good, however, is when you take responsibility in a situation and build it for lasting impact. Your friend is abusing substances? It's good to confront them about it and have a genuine conversation. And those who struggle with telling the difference are the same people who may be too afraid to speak up about the person's substances or would gladly die from an infection rather than make a call to 911 as to not inconvenience the operators.
Call 911, dude. What are you doing?
Wait, that's kind of actually cringe. I have fear of being on the phone. Kind of shy.
What do you mean you're shy?
Now, with that PSA done, let's talk about Charlie.
It'll be a happy day.
Charlie's the princess of hell, and despite being royalty, she's oblivious to her people's culture, politics, and how to lead them. With both parents being absent in her life, she was never taught how to adapt as an adult with power and responsibilities, which leads her to think being nice will magically get folks to fall in line, join her hotel, and that hell will just stop being mean. You can tell her dad is a ringleader at a circus from her clown-ass conclusion. Charlie's naivete is what stops her from being taken seriously, but it's her lacking of understanding hell and its people's needs that prevents her from ever actually learning. So, to give you an idea, Charlie wants to get sinners from hell into heaven via redemption, whatever that means, in order to avoid annual executions from heaven to prevent a possible uprising.
And as the numbers of hell grew, so did its power. Threatened by this, heaven made a truly heartless decision that every year they would send down an army to ensure hell and its sinners could never rise against them.
Wait, what the fuck?
Now, if you want to know more of heaven and its messed up practices, you can watch our previous video for more details. But in short, heaven doesn't take hell's kind too kindly. Charlie knows this, but doesn't know what can get sinners into heaven, nor what gets that sinner into hell. So, what exactly is her approach to redemption?
My name is Charlie. I like to sing. And when we get to know each other, it's the greatest thing.
This is stupid. I'm a bad man. Now, where's an innocent kid I can sell crack to? The crackhead.
It's great, right? Keep going.
Can you stop being a jackass?
Camp songs and role-playing good guys versus bad guys with the traumatized sinners, who are constantly labeled as bad guys from heaven, playing the roles. Genius.
Woo! Bravo, you fucking idiot.
And this isn't the only time she doesn't understand sinners. When told that heaven is going from killing sinners yearly to twice a year, rather than understand everyone's panic, she gets gleeful at others' desperation, as it could be the reason for them to get in her hotel and magically ascend to heaven. Which, again, she doesn't know how that can work in the first place.
Sinners are desperate. Maybe desperate enough to try anything to escape the extermination.
This is the perfect time to recruit more sinners for the hotel! What the f is wrong with you? You f***ed up motherfucking bastard! What the
So she has a habit of not understanding her people and maybe even understanding less on how she can make her fantasies real. Best example of this is how she handles angel dust.
A famous porn star. I'll have the horniest sinners knocking these walls down.
As she was being slutatious. She was the whore of charm school. A slutatious whore.
Angel dust is a perfect example of the average sinner. Cynical, traumatized, and exploited by the corrupt systems that plague hell. Angel needs to be taken seriously, as he's a man shackled to drugs and an abusive Valentino. When she sees these problems preventing Angel's progress, she worries about being mean to the abusive slave owner who causes said problems.
But unless you can fix my boss, there's nothing you can do.
I could be so aggressively kind to Angel's boss that I convince him to let Angel spend more time in the hotel!
Why are you like this?
And when she finally confronts him, instead of getting Angel away from an abusive power, she runs away sobbing when she should have kept him safe.
You made things worse.
I just wanted to help you.
Well, you ain't.
Mean too. I'm so sorry.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Again, Charlie doesn't get the sinners she wants to save, but Husk does. When Angel was down, Husk lifted him back up by seeing who Angel really was, because, like him, Husk knows the power struggles in hell, knows how hard the common sinner's life is, and sees that Angel's anguish is more important than Husk's pride, unlike someone else. So Charlie does care, but how can she go from being ignorant to the needs of her people to actually learning what she needs to do?
And that was about the way it started. It became, you might say, a theory, a generalization, when I found for these first two that I was trying to understand these lofty people and kept on trying to figure them out. And then one day, this big, wonderful click happens when the two descriptions melted into one. And there was a theory.
In 1943, Abraham Maslow became controversial in psychology by suggesting humans aren't just walking bundles of instincts, a la Freud.
Yo mama.
But beings capable of growth when their needs are met. Enter Maslow's hierarchy of need, a 5-tier model explaining how people move from surviving to thriving. On the first level, you have physical needs, things like food, water, and shelter to ensure the person is physically safe. On the second level, you have safety needs, things like financial and social stability, which provides the person both safety and the feeling of being safe through consistent resources. On the third level, you have love and belonging, where the person has reliable and emotionally healthy support through their relationships and community. On the fourth level, you have esteem, where the person finds what brings them joy, self-respect, and confidence, which gains recognition for it through the community. And lastly, you have the fifth level, self-actualization, which is where the person can finally reflect and forge their identity, morality, and personhood through growth. While often taught like gospel in Psych 101, the theory isn't without criticism, as it was borrowed heavily from indigenous models, particularly from the Blackfoot Nation, without due credit. But at its core, Maslow's argument stood tall. People can change, but they need the right conditions, not just biology and thinking about their mommy issues. And here's where things get eerily familiar. Charlie Morningstar, with her sunshine and singing crusade to redeem sinners, shares Maslow's belief that people are more than their worst moments. Both challenge a world that sees individuals as irredeemable. Both crave validation, and both are, let's be honest, a little too optimistic for their own good. But where Maslow spent years studying how real humans grow when their actual needs are met, Charlie's approach skips the homework and jumps straight to the group therapy musical numbers. In short, Maslow made the foundation. Charlie's trying to climb it in roller skates while wearing clown getup, as she needs to recognize her issues first in order to pay attention to others, like her lack of leadership skills.
Fucking mediocre! Fuck you old bitch! Two of us are having fun!
So following Maslow's hierarchy as a baseline, Charlie struggles at the 3rd and 4th levels as she knows she's already got a place to sleep, eat, and have loads of cash. But her community, originally her parents, were cut out of her life, never teaching her how to actually lead or relate to others. That's why she clings to people like Alistair, who act supportive but clearly play her, while pushing away Vaggie, the one person who's been loyal and honest, even hiding her angel past to protect Charlie. On top of that, Charlie's so desperate for recognition that she throws herself into the hotel project, hoping it'll earn her approval. From her dad, from heaven, from someone, which clearly blinds her to real issues. But once she reconnects with her father and realizes heaven doesn't care how nice she is, she finally starts shifting her focus from being polite and convenient to stepping up, doing good. Now, with her needs addressed, she'll have to address Hell's needs, whether it's through politics as a future queen or in her hotel. First, the denizens of Hell are scared and powerless souls stuck in an endless cycle of unstable housing, broken systems, and corrupt overlords finding their desperation as a way to easily enslave them. So, stable housing, systemic reform, and ending slavery are keys to ensure that basic needs can be met, and then more can be done. Next, on the reform front, she'll need to have the tough conversations about why her guests ended up in hell, what they need to heal, and what redemption means for them. She'll also have to deal with people's complicated social webs and shady pasts, where she has to build a genuine community inside the hotel that keeps people from slipping back into crime or servitude. And to curate that, she'll need incentives and rewards for progress, like handing out privileges and resources that help folks build actual lives worth living, and help build an identity through recognition. Because at the end of the day, being queen, or the manager of her hotel, means more than just redeeming sinners. It means making a heaven out of hell, where people don't abandon hope. A great place to start is with angel dust. First, she needs to use her authority to break Angel free from Valentino's grip. Once freed, Angel has to stick around the hotel, safe from Val's influence and all the temptations that come with it. Then comes the hard work, deep conversations about his past trauma, addiction, and what he actually wants from life, to create clear goals and recovery plans. But Charlie can't be his only lifeline. Angel needs a solid support crew outside her staff, people who help him stay on track. Good luck finding that in hell. As he progresses, privileges and real opportunities, like a shot at a legit career, will give him a tangible future to aim for. If Charlie does this right, Angel can finally ditch his self-destructive spiral and start living the life he would actually enjoy living. But if Charlie's going to pull off her ambitious plan to fix hell, she'll need more than programs and hope. She needs to understand the brutal realities of Hell's power games, and that's where Husk steps in. Husk's been through the hellscape hierarchy, from top dog to Alistair's pawn, and he knows the social mess Charlie can't see from her royal bubble. Together, Charlie's idealism and Husk's brutal honesty could be the dynamic duo Hell desperately needs to tear down corrupt systems like the Empire of the V's and restore some hope. And pay attention here, this can't be a quick fix. Getting the right resources and getting Alistair out of the picture both need to happen if she's going to be successful. After her heavenly victory, Charlie's not just a rising star. She can either become Hell's savior or just another symbol of the outdated hellish system. And with Sir Pentious proving her methods can work, next time we'll dive into that one success story and see how he may or may not be in heaven for long. So hit like and subscribe, and I'll catch all 12 of you next time. Bye.